Alrighty, we'll get started. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Damien. I am the Client Success Manager here at BGL. Today, what we're going to be going through is the MyBGL Administration Center. So it's not a product demo today or features webinar. It will be focused on the MyBGL Administration Center. So just a bit of housekeeping with every webinar that we do at BGL. So this webinar is being recorded. So if you do need to jump out at any time or need to watch the recording, that's perfectly fine. It is being recorded. All attendees will receive a copy of the recording as well sent to your email. So you will definitely have that within the next sort of few days or so. If you do have any questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to pop them into the Q&A section in Zoom console. I have Michaela from our sales and account management team who is helping out with any sort of questions that do come through the Q&A. So feel free to pop them into there. And if we have some time at the end of the webinar, we'll also answer some of the questions there too. Perfect. So what we're going to cover off today is all about MyBGL. So what is MyBGL used for, how you can access MyBGL, who else can access MyBGL as well, and then a bit of the navigation features and functions that you can do within MyBGL. So we're going to jump into the software first. Now, one thing to note with today's webinar as well is, so we've got clients that would probably be using CAS 360, Simple Fund 360, and Simple Invest 360. Your firm may be using one, two, or all three of the products today. So the links that Michaela will be helping with and some of the things that we're referring to may be specific to a particular product, such as Simple Fund, but the links will be relevant even if you use CAS 360 or Simple Invest 360 as well. So we are conscious of clients coming from and using multiple products. So we'll make sure that the links that are sent through to you are relevant, but it may be, for example, a link relating to Simple Fund, but you use CAS 360, but that should still contain the same details as well. Okay, so for today's session, so I'm currently logged into Simple Fund 360. So I'm in Simple Fund, the product itself. I can see the funds that are in my license at the moment. And for today's demonstration, I am the account owner in my firm as well. Now, this firm also has CAS 360, and if your firm uses both CAS 360 and Simple Fund 360 and Simple Invest, you will notice that in the app switcher, which is in the top right-hand corner within Simple Fund, for example, that you'll have CAS 360 that you can easily switch over to. Now, in the app switcher, I've got this option here for MyBGL. Now, I am the account owner in my license. What an account owner is your firm's, for example, business owner, manager, the director of the company, someone that owns the license with BGL. Now, every firm has an account owner. This is someone that would be set, usually the person that's purchased the product, or if this has been changed to potentially a manager or a director in the past. The account owner is the person would be the first point of contact if BGL needs to contact your firm, and they're also considered the decision maker as well. So any sort of time that there is a query or query in relation to your account or purchasing new products, that would go through your account owner of the business. If you are unsure who the account owner is for your business, so if you don't see MyBGL in your app switcher that's over here at the moment, it'd be best to speak to your manager, director, or the owner of the business to see who would normally pay the BGL invoices, or the person that usually manages the relationship with BGL, and they are likely to be the person that is the account owner. If you're unsure who the account owner is still beyond that, feel free to contact the BGL team and we can always check and see who that person is and update the details if we need to as well. Now, as I mentioned, so I'm currently in Simple Fund 360 at the moment and I'm the account owner. So in the app switch here, we've got the MyBGL option. So I'm going to click into that here. And it's taken me into the MyBGL dashboard. Now, MyBGL is the administration center for your firm's BGL cloud-based products. So if your firm is still using any of the BGL desktop products, they will still be managed through the BGL Client Center. MyBGL is for any cloud-based products that your firm has. Now, if you don't currently have access to MyBGL and you're not the account owner, but you know who is, we will cover off on how you can be invited into MyBGL as an additional user as well. Now, just a bit of general navigation in MyBGL here. So similar to how we have it set up in Simple Fund 360 and CAS 360, we have in the top right-hand corner, so some of the navigation and options here, and also more navigation on the left-hand side, depending on what task we are completing from here. So in the top right-hand corner, we've got the help area. So if I click into the help from here, this will link us to the Knowledge Center for Simple Fund 360 because my firm has Simple Fund 360. As I mentioned, the links that might be sent to you may be relevant to Simple Fund, but are still relevant for CAS 362. So within each of these links here, they will go through further details about what we are going through today and the features and functions that you can complete within MyBGL. So if you were to click into any of these ones, for example, the MyBGL Dashboard help article, it will explain all of the features and how to complete a task within MyBGL there. Similar to how we have it within the products as well, we've got the feedback option in here. So if there is something that you would like to see within MyBGL, something that would help with your workflow in managing your invoicing or account relationship with BGL, feel free to pop it into the feedback here. So all of that feedback is reviewed by our internal products team. And we do ensure that all of that is considered, and we will, if something is going to help with your firm, then we'll definitely look at how we can support that. So definitely any sort of feedback that you have in relation to your account or products specific to the billing side or account management relationship, you can pop through in the feedback option here. Now we've got the logout button here as well, so I don't want to click on that because otherwise I'll be logged out of MyBGL, but that is the sign out button, similar to how we also have it within Simple Fund 360 too. The next option that we have here is the app switcher. So looks similar to how it looks within CAS 360, Simple Invest or Simple Fund 360. But in MyBGL, it's 4 squares as opposed to the 9 squares that we have in the product itself. But it still serves the same purpose, where it allows you to navigate to the other products that you have access to. So an account owner of the business will have access to all of the products, which makes sense. If they're the account owner, then they would have access to all the products with the highest level of permissions there. Now, if a user hasn't been invited in to access that particular product, then that product won't appear in this app switcher. But multiple users can be invited in at no additional charge, and each person using their own login as well. The last option that we have here is also the profile management area. So if you want to manage the multi-factor authentication or any of those sorts of details, they can be managed in the profile management area there. Now we're just going to dive into each of the screens that are in MyBGL. So I can see all of the options here on the left-hand side. We're going to work through each of the screens one at a time and look at the features that are available on the screen. So I've logged into MyBGL. This is the dashboard that we can see here on the screen. So at the top here, we can see it's welcomed myself as the account owner. We can see my email address up the top here and my position as the account owner here. So if you are invited as an additional user into MyBGL, it would display your user role that you have been invited in as. So if you're seeing here admin or normal user, that means that you're not the account owner, but you still have access to MyBGL to complete certain functions. Again, we will touch on how additional users can be invited into MyBGL when we do get to the contacts list area. Now from here, we've got this option here to change the account owner. So if I click into this from here, this will allow me to change the account owner from myself to a new person. So this is really important if, for example, you are currently the account owner and you are moving on from the business for any reason. It is important to make sure that you do change the account ownership to the relevant new person. This is a process that can now be completed on at a client level as well, without BGL intervention, but it is important to make sure that the correct details are entered in. So from here, what I can do is enter in the new account owner, their first name, surname, email address, and contact details. And this process does go through a security check here. So in this area here, once we've entered in those details, I'm not going to be changing the account owner because I would like that to be myself in this for today's demonstration. But from here, when we do click on the send verification code, that will send a message with a verification code to, for example, my mobile phone number, to make sure that when we are processing the change of account ownership here, that it is actually myself requesting the ownership change, that it's not someone that isn't authorized to process that otherwise. Down the bottom here, we've got the option to then see whether we would still like to have access to the products. So if I select yes to this option here, it will change the account owner to the person that we have entered in above up here. But it would move myself from being the account owner to become an admin instead. So I'll still have access to the products in MyBGL to manage the billing and administration side of things as an admin user. So one step down from the account ownership. If I select the option for no, what will happen is once this account ownership change has been processed, I will no longer have access to MyBGL or any of the products. So this is the option that might be if you're leaving the business, for example, and you no longer require that sort of access, then you would select this option here if you don't need to manage anything BGL related. Once you go through this process here, just with the capture code and submit the request, it will be almost immediately reflected, and the new account owner will receive that account ownership, and an email will also be sent out notifying you and the new account owner of that change in ownership there too. So we do make sure that any sort of changes that are happening to your firm's record does have an email notification sent through so that you are fully aware of any changes that are happening. So that is how you can process change of account ownership within MyBGL if it does need to be changed for any reason to a new person. One thing to note as well with this is that please make sure that if you ever do change the account ownership, that it is an actual person. We don't want it to be a generic email address or shared email. We want that person to be contactable if, for example, BGL needs to contact them as well. So just make sure that it is a contactable person there. So I'll jump back into the dashboard again. Now on the screen here as well, we can see my company details. So my firm name is Damien Webinar Proprietary Limited. We can see the ABN telephone number and the address details for the company here as well. Now, in the past, if you did need to change or update your firm's account details, you would normally need to process or prepare a change of details form and send that off to BGL, which is probably more than a couple of years ago. That no longer needs to happen. So if your business has changed its name or address, this can now be updated in MyBGL. You do need to be the account owner to change these details as they are the firm information itself. So this can only be done by the account owner. So what I'll do here is I'll click on the update button. And what I'm going to do is I've noticed that the address that's here is not the correct one for BGL. So I'm going to update the details here. Now we'll notice that the search also uses Google from here too, but being a suite, I'm just going to leave the address as I've entered it in. And if we did change the firm name or our contact details, we can update them up the top here. The billing address is the same as the mailing address, so I've just left that checkbox here. And once I click on the submit button, I will receive an automated email from MyBGL that the details have been updated. And this will also flow through to BGL CRM straight away without needing to notify your account manager or BGL manually. So it's a really quick and easy way to process any sort of changes that happen with your firm and updating our records with BGL. Now, the next option that we have here is your BGL account manager. So every firm record or client record with your products that you have with BGL, you will have a nominated account manager. That account manager manages the relationship invoicing and product queries with your firm. So you can see their details from here. We also understand that at times your account manager may change for various reasons. This field here is up to date and will display that account manager so that you have their contact details on hand here. So in this example, I have Michaela, who's answering the Q&A as my account manager. So if I needed to contact Michaela about any sort of account management, invoicing or product queries, such as purchasing a new product, I can simply email Michaela from here. It's a really handy way of ensuring that you have your up-to-date contact details for your BGL account manager. Now, towards the bottom here, we've got the product usage. So a lot of the feedback that we've had in the past as well is the account owner not necessarily using the product, but wanting to be able to see the usage within here and making sure that they're only paying for what they would like to be subscribed for. So this high-level information here of the product usage shows me that I've got CAS 360 and Simple Fund 360 within my firm. From here, I can see that I have used 9 company spaces of my 25 subscription limit for CAS 360. I can see that I've used all 5 fund spaces within Simple Fund 360, and I've only been subscribed to 5 funds. And with the bank and share data, I'm currently subscribed for those add-on services, but I'm not using any of them. So from here, we can see that really high-level information about the product usage. And you can speak to your team, for example, if they're not using them or if you do need to review your subscription quantities. So as an example, with my Simple Fund 360 license, because I've used all of the funds and to be taking on a new client, I will need to upgrade my license, which we'll do shortly as well. Now, on the right-hand side over here, we can see the invoices or the most recent invoices. Now, this particular filter here will show the invoices for the last month and the current month. So in this example, we've got August here, September. We've just hit the 1st of September, so the invoices will come through shortly. But we can see here, if I hover over the column, the 2 invoices for the 2 products that I'm subscribed for with CAS and Simple Fund 360. And we can see again that high-level information about the invoice amounts paid and the date of the invoice as well. If I do want to see prior months before then, I can also use the filter here and extend the date range to see more months. This can also be seen in the billing area that we'll enter in shortly. And I can also filter by particular products as well. So if I just want to focus on the CAS 360 invoices for the current month, we can then also see that once we apply that filter here too. So that is a bit about the MyBGL dashboard, just giving relevant details where you can update your firm details, see your BGL account manager, and that high-level information about your product usage as well. So the next option that we're going to go into is the billing area. So I'm going to click on the billing option on the left-hand side. And from here, we'll see is all of the invoices for our BGL products. So in here, we can see there's a tab for the current invoices and the invoice history. With the invoices, I can retrieve them from here. So if you have access to MyBGL, you can download the invoices from this screen here, but they will still be emailed to any applicable contacts as well. So which we'll touch on when we get to the contact list, but this is another option for staff members or employees at your firm to be able to view the invoices at your discretion. So in here, we can see the current invoices. The 2 products that I have are CAS 360 and Simple Fund 360. Both products are on a monthly billing cycle. And we'll touch on a little bit more about that if you would like to switch over to monthly billing. We do support annual and monthly. So over here, I can see that there is a status that says post-pay pending. And what that means is that my invoices have been created. I'm able to access the upgraded quantities, but the payment for those invoices has not been taken out of the direct debit yet. So that's why they are flagged as a current invoice. And if I hover over that post-pay pending status, it will give us further details about what that actually means. Now over towards the right-hand side, so we can see the product details and the invoice amount, and I can also download a copy of the invoice if I want to retrieve that now. Up the top here, and similar to how we saw in the dashboard, I can select the products if I want to focus on invoices relating to Simple Fund 360 only. I can apply that filter from here, and also the date range as we saw in the dashboard. But this will be able to display all of the invoices, and we can also download and retrieve them from here. In the invoices history area, this will show you a list of all of the invoices that have been paid for your firm's BGL products. Now, from here, as we can see, invoices that have been sent in the past. So my client record is quite new. It's only been set up in the last few days, but I've still got a few invoices. But depending on how long you have been a BGL client for, you can see all of the history of all of your invoices and download any sort of invoices if you do need to retrieve another copy of that. So that is the billing area. So we're going to look at the contact list. Now, the contact list is very important and it will display all of the details relating to your particular firm. Now, in here, I've got a number of people that are attached to my firm, and we can see there's a number of different contact types also attached here too. Now, I'm going to go through the structure that I have set up, but to determine what each of the contact types are, I can hover over this little green eye icon to see what they all mean. So we're just going to touch on what each of these contact types mean and what do they do. Now, with the admin contact type, so as we can see here on the screen as well, this person or multiple people that have admin access, contacts will have similar access to the account owner, but so it's considered more of a 2IC, I guess, in some aspects, and they will receive all BGL invoices. Now, all of the contact types will receive invoices depending on what they have been set up as, including the account owner as well. So we want to make sure that any invoices that are sent or paid for to BGL will be sent to the account owner too. Now, with the billing contact here, we can see as well, so they will receive any BGL invoices as well. The CADS 360 contact will receive any invoices in relation to CADS 360 only, but not Simple Fund 360 or Simple Invest if it is the CADS 360 contact attached to that particular person. And then similar as well with the Simple Fund 360 and Simple Invest 360 contact types, they will receive their respective invoices relating to those products as well. Now, in this particular structure, so just touching on what those contact types again, what they mean, and the structure that I have currently set up here. So it's set up in alphabetical order, but I can reorder this if I wanted to. So we can see here I'm in the middle as the account owner, and we can see all of those contact types that are applied to me automatically. So for me, as the account owner, I'd be receiving all of the invoices for all of the products, and I'm still considered the highest point of contact as well. In this example as well, so I've also set up Adriana as an admin. So what that means is I'm still the account owner, but Adriana is considered an admin. She'll receive all of the invoices from BGL, but she can also be considered a potential decision maker depending on what task is being completed with BGL. We've got Minori also set up here as a billing contact. So that means that she maybe works in the accounts department at the firm. And she would like to receive all invoices relating to BGL so that she doesn't need to ask myself or Adriana for those invoices. So all the invoices that are generated would be automatically emailed to Minori so that she can manage them and enter them into the system accordingly. And also in my example here, so I've also got Cody that manages the CADS 360 side of things. So she'll receive any of the invoices relating to CADS 360. And with Michaela, she would receive any invoices relating to Simple Fund 360 in this example here. If I wanted to add a new contact to receive the invoices automatically, what I can do is click on the Create button from here and enter in their name. So I'm just going to pop in Rocco as an example. Here. Pop in the contact details. I'm just going to enter in the BGL phone number. And let's say we're going to give him admin access as well. So similar to Adriana and myself, we're going to give him some higher permissions to act for any sort of reasons in relation to BGL. Now, as the account owner, when I click on the submit button, this will be reflected automatically on the record. So Rocco will automatically be an admin, as we can see over here. Now, if the request to add a new contact comes from any other user, so for example, an admin person that has access to MyBGL or a normal user, that does need to be approved by the account owner. Okay, so those sorts of ones that are submitted will appear in the contacts pending approval area for the account owner to approve accordingly. But as the account owner, when I process that change to add Rocco to my contact list, I didn't need approval as the account owner there. If someone does move on from BGL, from your firm, you can use the mark as departed button on the right-hand side so that they no longer receive any of the invoices automatically. So you can click on that option there. So for example, if I wanted to depart any of them, we could do so from here just by clicking on that option. And they will no longer receive any of the invoices or from BGL there. Now, to invite additional users into BGL, to MyBGL, so this is the contact list, which is in relation to points of contact for any sort of BGL purposes or with your products. If you would like to invite someone to have access to MyBGL, they do need to be invited as a user to MyBGL. In this screen here, we've got the option to invite them. So if I click on this link here, this will take me to the user manager area and allow me to invite additional users. For people that are listed in here, it does not mean that they automatically have access to MyBGL. Okay, so if your account owner hasn't set this up just yet, it is important to make sure that at least one other person does have access to MyBGL, especially if the account owner was to go on leave or for any other reason, if they're out of the office. Having at least one other person with access to MyBGL will allow that person to still be able to complete their tasks, even though the account manager or the account owner is away from the office. But inviting them from here is a separate process from the contact list. So I've just added Rocco as a authorized person, as an admin person in the contact list. So I'm also going to give him access to MyBGL so that if I am out of the office, that he can still access MyBGL to complete any sort of administrative tasks with the products. So I've entered in Rocco's details here up the top. Now, one thing to note is that as the account owner, I have access to MyBGL CAS and Simple Fund here, and I can invite additional users into the products from here. Now, MyBGL is the first option. So from here, what I'm going to select is the admin option, because I would like Rocco to have similar access to myself and complete those tasks in MyBGL. Now, one thing to note with this as well is we want to make sure that if you do invite any additional users into MyBGL, that they are staff members at your firm. So this is really important. So for clients that do invite trustees of an SMSF into your Simple Fund 360 license to view their fund, that's great. You've got that option in Simple Fund 360 to invite a trustee from here, but you wouldn't want to invite a trustee to your MyBGL area, because then they would be able to see your firm's invoicing and payment details and complete those sorts of tasks. So for MyBGL, you'd only want to make sure that it's just staff members that you would like to authorize to have access to complete tasks relating to the products. Now, in this option here as well, so if I was to just click on admin only, and I'll click on the option down the bottom to invite one user, this will then send an invitation to Rocco to accept. And once he has accepted that invitation, he will have access to MyBGL only. If you would like to have staff members with access to MyBGL and the products, it is important to make sure that you do invite them to all three or the products that they should have access to. So that is how you can invite additional users So if you currently don't have access to MyBGL, but believe that you should have it to complete your tasks, such as adding in new funds or companies, please ensure that you do speak to your account owner at your business, and they can invite you at their discretion. So that is a little bit about the contact list and how additional users can be invited into the MyBGL Administration Center. So the next screen that I'm going to go into is the products area here on the left-hand side. So in the products area here, we can see similar information that we saw in the dashboard, that my firm is subscribed to CAS 360 and Simple Fund 360 as well. And we've got a few options that we'll work through and spend a bit of time in this screen here. Now, this screen is quite clean and displays the relevant details that I would need to see in as the account owner. So I can see that I've used 9 spaces out of the 25 that I am subscribed to. I can see the original purchase date of the product and also when my product will be expiring. So because I am on a monthly billing cycle, which we can see up the top here, my subscription will be expiring on the 30th of September, but that is automatically renewed each month. If I click on the contacts area here, we can see similar information to what we saw in the contact list that we looked at just earlier. So this will display all of the contact types that authorized for purposes of the CAS 360. So we can see Rocco and Adriana that we nominated as an admin, but we can also see Cody that was also elected as a CAS 360 contact here. And that is also visible for both products here. So if I was to open the Simple Fund, we can see the similar information, but Michaela, on the other hand, as we nominated her as a Simple Fund 360 contact for the purposes of that. Now, up the top here, we've got the option to upgrade our license. So if I was to click on this, what I can do is upgrade my license for CAS 360. So there's a couple of things to note with this first. So the first thing is that I am on a monthly billing cycle. So I can upgrade the number of company spaces from here very easily. Now, what we'll notice here is currently we've got 25 company spaces, but if I was to click on the arrow up here, we'll notice that it goes up to 30. So one of the changes that BGL has made over the last couple of years is that CAS 360 can now be upgraded in lots of 5 companies. So in the past, prior to mid-2020, if you had any sort of upgrades that you were processing, that would normally need to be done in lots of 25 companies. But you can now upgrade CAS 360 in lots of 5 companies at a time. Okay, so if you are managing, let's say, for example, 36 companies, you can have a license for CAS 360 for 40 companies as opposed to paying for 50. So rounding up to the nearest 5, that is fine for you to pay for now as well. If I go back to our products and I'll select for Simple Fund 360, what we'll notice, the 5 funds that we have, which are currently all being used as well. If I use the arrow in this option, we'll see that it goes up to 6 funds. And if I was to click it again, it'll go up to 7. So with Simple Fund 360, the change happened at approximately the same time back in 2020. For any licenses or any clients that do use Simple Fund 360, you can now pay for funds in lots of 1. Okay, so the minimum is still the 5 funds. So if you aren't on, for example, a trustee license that allows for 1 fund, you are subscribed to the professional edition, it starts at a minimum of 5 funds, but you can then upgrade your funds in lots of singles or 1 fund thereafter. So this is really good, especially for some of the smaller businesses or for firms that do want to pay for exactly what they are using. In the past, you had to upgrade in lots of 5 funds at a time, but this can now be done in lots of 1 fund. So if I'm managing 6 funds or 6 clients, I can move to the 6 funds from here. This is also the same case for Simple Invest 360 as well, where you can upgrade in lots of 1 entity at a time. And that also does apply to the add-ons here too. So if you do subscribe to the bank data or share data add-ons, the minimum is 5 funds or 5 entities, but you can also upgrade those in lots of 1 fund or 1 entity thereafter as well. Now, from our example earlier, we saw that my firm was using all 5 fund spaces. So I'm going to upgrade to 6 funds from here. And I'm going to click on the get price that's down the bottom. And on the right-hand side, we can see that the grand total is $10.09, including GST. Now, what this is a pro rata calculating from today until the end of the month for 1 additional fund space, which MyBGL has automatically calculated for me. If I want to see the breakdown of how this has been calculated, I can click on this option here to view that detail, and the calculation will be displayed down the bottom here. So it is quite a comprehensive calculation, but it is so that we only charge clients for what they are using at a fair reason there. So I can see the detail of the price calculation from there. If I'm happy with the amount, what I would do is click on the checkbox here that I've read and agree to the BGL Cloud Subscription Agreement, and then click on the Go to Payment option. Now, because I am on a monthly billing cycle, when I click on this option here, it will automatically process my upgrade and create an invoice for the 1 fund. I will be able to access the additional fund space in Simple Fund 360 straight away because I am on monthly billing. So the payment for that would be taken out in the next direct debit run that BGL has. But in the meantime, I'd be able to access that additional fund in Simple Fund 360, and I can add my new client straight away. If you are on annual billing, so for any clients that are on annual subscriptions, what you would do from there is you would be prompted to enter in your credit card details or make the payment via a direct transfer. And once that invoice has been marked off by BGL, you would then be able to access the upgraded quantity in your license. So that is how you can upgrade your license very easily through MyBGL at the click of a button. Now, if I've looked at my spaces here or anything and want to review the number of subscriptions that I am subscribed to and want to reduce it, I can click on the downgrade button if I want to reduce my license. Now, in this option here with CAS 360, I have the 25 companies, which is the minimum. But if I was to select the downgrade for Simple Fund 360, I can choose to reduce my license back to the 5 funds that I had before if I wanted to do that. Now, when you do process a downgrade request, what will happen is that it does send the request to your firm's BGL account manager just to review the licensing and make sure that you are in line with the subscribe limit and to complete a couple of checks. And if everything's all good, they will process the downgrade request for you, which will then be reflected in your next invoice that you have with BGL for that product. Now here we've also got the cancel product option. So if I wanted to no longer want to be subscribed for the product, I've got that cancellation button from here, which will also send that request to my BGL account manager. Now over here as well, we've got the option to convert to annually. So that's because I am on a monthly billing cycle here. If I was to click on the convert to annual button, what that will do is move my billing cycle to annual billing. Now, just to touch on the 2 options with annual and monthly billing. So for clients that are on annual billing, you will have the option here to convert to monthly billing. In terms of the calculation and how monthly billing works, it does need to be set up on a direct debit. So we don't allow the option to pay an invoice manually. It does need to be on a direct debit. But what that allows you to do is for BGL to take the payment for the invoice on a monthly basis each month. But you'll still be able to have access to your products without having to physically pay that invoice each time. As we saw with the upgrade as well, that can be a really handy option because then I can complete an upgrade request with the payment taken out shortly as well. But I can still at least complete my work straight away without having to wait for any reason. So if you do want to, if you're on annual billing and you'd like to switch to monthly billing, you have that option here, and vice versa as well. So if you're on monthly billing and want to go to annual billing instead and want to pay an upfront invoice for 12 months, you've got that option from here. Now with the purchase new features button that we have here, so this is for CAS 360. We don't see it for Simple Fund. In the purchase new features area, what this allows you to do is to purchase the CAS360 custom email. Now, for clients that are using CAS360, so what this is, by default, any emails that are sent from CAS360 will be sent from noreply@cas360.com.au. But what we've allowed for clients the option to do now is for the emails that are sent from CAS360 to be sent from a particular email address, such as corporate secretary or info at your firm's email domain. You can actually have that option there. So there is a charge of $550, including GST, which is a once-off fee. So by selecting that option here, I can pay for that option to change my sender email in CAS360. And in CAS360, there is an option to then enter in that email address that you would like the emails to be sent from as well. So that is what the purchase new features for CAS360 is to change the sender email for any emails that are sent from CAS360. Now, towards the bottom over here, we've got the ability to purchase new products. So currently, my firm is subscribed for CAS360 and Simple Fund 360, but I want to have the complete suite and also purchase Simple Invest 360. So what I'm going to do is click on the new purchase new products options down the bottom. And on the screen here, we can see the Simple Invest 360 option here. So we've got the investor edition as well. So if I've got only 1, 2, or 3 entities, I can purchase those from here. But what I'm going to do is to select the Buy Now button for the professional edition. We're going to purchase for the minimum of the 5 entities. Don't need any of the add-on services, or if I was to select them, I could select which ones I would like to have from here. So I'll turn them off for the moment though. So just want to be subscribed for the base 5 entities on Simple Invest 360. For this purpose, I'm going to go with annual billing this time and click on Add to Cart. And down the bottom here, we can see the 5 entities that I'm going to be purchasing for Simple Invest 360. And then I'll click on the checkout button down the bottom. Now on the screen here, we'll have the details. So these are all pre-filled from my firm that I'm already logged into and managing the administration for my products by BGL products. So you will see this as well if you would like to purchase any new BGL cloud-based products. We can see all the information here that has been pre-filled based on the firm details. I'll then select the option here that I have read the BGL cloud subscription agreement and the capture code from here too. And when I go to payment from here, what's happening at the moment is MyBGL is creating my new purchase invoice for Simple Invest 360, and it will then prompt me to select my payment method of using a credit card or FBOS or cryptocurrency, for example. So from here, you'd normally select your preferred payment method. So if I was to select the credit card option, I'd be able to pop in my credit card details by first selecting, for example, Visa, and enter those details in. If you do pay by a credit card, the invoice will be marked off almost immediately. So then you will have access to Simple Invest 360, which will sit still within Simple Fund though. If you do make payment, for example, by direct transfer, it can usually take 1 to 2 days or 1 to 2 business days to be marked off and received by BGL, but you are more than welcome to send the payment remittance through to get that marked off sooner. So once I've paid for the product, it would then appear in my app switcher under Simple Invest, but also under Simple Fund 360, and I could add new entities such as a company, trust, or individual as a new entity within Simple Fund 360 there. So that is how we can manage current products and also purchase any sort of new products within MyBGL. Now, in the payment details area that we have here on the left-hand side, this is mainly used for clients that have a monthly product. So if you do have a monthly product, you can see your existing billing details that are here. If you're not currently set up for monthly billing or you've just moved to monthly billing, you can see the options here to enter in the bank account or credit card details. If you do set it up with a credit card, there is usually a 1.5% surcharge for clients in Australia. There isn't usually any surcharges for a bank account though. So that is how you can set up or change the bank account details or credit card details for your cloud-based products there. The next option that we have here is on the left-hand side with the events and training. So if I'll select this one from here. Now, from here, what we can do is register any sort of staff members or even yourself for any of the training or events that BGL hosts. So with the training option, if I was to click on the new registration from here, we can see the options for CADS 360 and Simple Fund 360. So if I select Simple Fund 360 and continue and select web, since the training has now been moved to an online webinar style. From here, I can register users or any staff members for the online training webinars that we have in September here. So this is an easy option now to register new staff members for training. If you take on a new staff member and they require training on the products, or you are new to the product, you can select these options here to register for the training. Now, it is important and it's always best to ensure that you are logged into MyBGL when you are processing this so that the invoices are kept together and also attached to your firm's record. If you are on the BGL website and you're wanting to register for training, it does sit under the Resources Hub area on the BGL website. And the training option that we have towards the bottom. Once on the training page, the option to register via MyBGL is displayed here, and that will take us into the same screen that we were looking at from the main page here. So ensuring that you are logged into MyBGL, or if you are registering on behalf of another staff member, it's important that you do to ensure that you are logged into MyBGL so that all the invoices stay together and can be managed very easily there too. Any sort of other events such as the BGL RegTech event or, for example, the Simple Invest 360 breakfast that we've had recently as well, any of those sorts of other BGL events that requires a registration can also be processed from here with the payment and payment for any sort of paid events managed very easily too. If you want to change the details in relation to an existing registration that you already have, you can manage that from here and change the relevant details accordingly. Now that does bring us, we've just gone through a lot of information I know about in relation to MyBGL and just gone through how everything works. So just to reiterate a couple of things. The account owner for your business will have access to MyBGL. The account owner will have that access to be able to manage or any sort of administration tasks in relation to your firm's BGL cloud-based products. If any additional users do need to be invited into MyBGL, so you would authorize and you're happy for other staff members to have access to that, you can invite them through the contacts list or user manager area and provide them with access to MyBGL from there. But that does bring us to the end of today's webinar. So on behalf of BGL, a very big thank you to everyone that has joined today's webinar. Hopefully you've learned a few new things about how MyBGL works and how easy it is to complete sort of those administrative tasks and manage your firm's relationship products with BGL. If you do have any questions, please feel free to pop them into the Q&A. We will stay around for another few minutes just to answer any questions that you do have. But on behalf of BGL, a big thank you again for attending today's webinar, and we hope to see you in another webinar soon. Thanks, everyone.